Hey, all Andy here, helping you build a career you love. Happy Thursday. Great to have you. If you're here with me live or watching on the recording or any which way you're rolling with me today, great to have you. We got a full hour of me just serving you, answering your questions. And as you get in and get comfortable, get in the chat, say hi, put some question marks in front of your questions. Let me know where you're from. Let me know what you do. And if you are in any of my programs, use your hashtag. You know I love my boot campers and leaders and everybody else who's a member of the Mile Walk Academy and all of you who are my community members. So as you're getting settled in, and we are going to spend the entire hour just focusing on your questions. I've got one quick announcement, but I do want to, as you're settling in, I do want to give you a quick lesson that was on my mind. I was thinking about this a couple of minutes ago as I was sitting in my chair going through my pregame with you. And last Friday, so 6 days ago, I had my monthly coaching session with my leadership coaching group. We meet once a month. We talk about leadership-y stuff, career development stuff, lifestyle stuff. And on Friday, we were talking about, I was giving a presentation on how to give a presentation, how to build the presentation, how to deliver a presentation, everything from thinking about your audience, the steps you want to take, the iterations you go through, the mechanics of building a powerful presentation, all the way to actually what should go in it, how to deliver it, and so on. And as part of that lesson, I'd asked them what were their biggest challenges in making a presentation and delivering it. And as you probably imagine, and it's not so difficult to wrap your mind around this, a number of people said that they get nervous or have stage fright. There were a host of it was a whole array of challenges that they had. But that was a real common one, as I'm guessing a lot of you probably face that same issue. And whether you're giving a presentation to 5 people or 500 or 5,000 or doing something like this that's being recorded or whatever it might be, what I told them, and I'm going to tell you, is that technically speaking, there is no such thing as stage fright. That stage fright, it isn't that you don't know how to talk. It isn't that you don't have something to offer. You otherwise wouldn't be giving the presentation if you didn't. And even if it's something simple as your boss or your management team asking you to put together an approach on something, or whether you're actually giving a speech, you know how to do these things. And so what I told them was, the reason that people got nervous is because of where they place their attention at the time that they're delivering the presentation, meaning that the stage fright and the nerves is usually a function of you thinking about you. The ego kicks in, and it's more about, am I going to look bad? Is this going to come off badly? Am I going to look like a fool? Or whatever it is that is going through your head. Where if you were focusing on your audience and serving them, your attention can't be in 2 places at one time. And if you're focusing on serving them and thinking about, how do I make my audience win? How do I make my community win? How do I make my management team win? How can I serve them? How can they be better off for having this interaction with me, whether it's the only time they're seeing me or whether I see them every week or every day or whatever it is? And so, you know, I wanted the leadership group to really obsess over their audience, think about what they need, think about what it's like not to know what I know, in whatever format that you're doing this. Whether, like I said, you're pitching an idea, or I know a lot of you are job searching. Can you imagine going into an interview thinking, how do I make this interviewer's life better? How do I make sure that they're better for having met me? How I'm giving them information about me so they can make an educated decision about hiring me, right? Where you tend to be so worried about you instead of what is it that I can give to them and how is it that I can deliver it to them to do that. So I want you to think about that as you're putting your presentations together, as you're pitching your ideas or whatever it is. If you can get your attention off of you and onto them, I think that will really help relax your nerves. It's going to come off a lot better. You will certainly be more sincere. So remember, your success, not just in presentations, but in all of life, is going to have more to do with where you place your attention than your ability. I assure you, start thinking that way, and all of a sudden you'll start to see the magic appear. Things will start going better. They'll go really well. And I'm sure your presentations or anything else you're delivering will come off great. So I hope you enjoyed that little tip. I want to get to your questions. I'm sure that you've been pounding them in. I have one little announcement, and that is if you have been following me on the social media sites, or LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or wherever, and on the YouTube channel with the shorts and all the videos and all this stuff, and in the emails. We've got a productivity mini camp starting on Monday. And in the spirit of productivity, I do MVPs, minimum viable products. That's the not perfect sign. And on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in the morning at 7 o'clock, I'm releasing an email and video lesson. We're going to send you to a watch page where you can learn about planning your weeks, running your days, and also driving projects that produce results. So there's about a 20-minute video each morning. And then on Thursday, that'll be the 30th, so the 27th, 28th, 29th, video lessons. It's on demand. You can watch them at your leisure. Then on Thursday, so next Thursday's slot at 11 a.m., I'm releasing a premiere. So it's a recorded video that I recorded on my habits and systems to be more productive. That's at 11 o'clock. I will be here with you live, but YouTube will open up the premiere at 11. And then when the premiere is over at 11:38 and change, it's going to route you to the Q&A, the live Q&A that we will have much like this one. So I hope you are on my email list. If you're not, maybe jump in, or if you sign up for the productivity mini camp, you will get dropped on my email list. And I hope you're subscribed to the YouTube channel because that's where it's all going to be happening on Thursday. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. I love doing this. We did a full-blown productivity challenge in January, 5 straight days of live stuff. This is going to be a mini version of that. And March tends to be the burnout month. We get tired of things. We make New Year's resolutions. I don't make New Year's resolutions, but we have new initiatives and other things that we try to do. And by the time March rolls around, we're so tired of working out every day and eating right. And just, that's why you have spring break and all that other stuff in March, but that's why Andy likes to have his mini camp too. Okay, so hope you enjoy that. Hope you're with me every day next week. And why don't we get to the chat? I saw a fan of Andy. Great to see you. Isa, nice to see you back in the chat. Julie, Mac, Anderson, what's up? Great to see you. Jamie, Maureen, Rita. Look at all of those boot campers. Frank and Jay. First time. Can we give Jay a big first timer hug? You are in for a treat, Jay. Ask me a question so I can answer it for you. Sal, good to see you. Look, see, just like Sal, put those question marks in there perfectly. Have the beautiful picture of your handsome face, just like Sal. Andy, position of operations manager at law firm. Had screening and 2 video interviews, going for live 4-person panel, and would love some helpful ideas, tricks, hints. Thanks, you are the best. Okay, first thing, Saul, that you need to do, because you're Saul and you have access to the Mile Walk Academy Library of Awesomeness, the 10th year anniversary edition of the Interview Intervention Training Program has 5 main modules in it, and one of the modules covers interview types and formats. So whether it's, the second interview, the screen, the first, the third, the whatever, the panel, the Zoom, the one-way Zoom, the one-way video, the two-way video, every different imaginable format and all of that stuff. So if you had the screen and you had 2 video interviews, you had like 2 one-on, kind of, I'm assuming 1-to-1 interviews. If it's a 4-person panel, the tactics on a video panel are, I'm assuming that's oh, wait, you say live 4-person panel. Okay, so assuming that you're actually in person interacting with them, one of the things that I always share about panel interviews is tactically, storytelling wise, and all that other stuff is all the same. The thing about panel interviews is you want to make sure that you're inclusive, meaning if somebody asks you a question, you don't just want to have a one-way dialogue with that person. The other thing that you also want to avoid is locking in on the senior-most person or the hiring official or whoever that is, and you really want to kind of spread your attention around the room. You do this on a video panel as well. You do it in an in-person one. But what I like to do is when somebody asks me a question, I like to look back at them, respond to them for a few seconds, hold their attention, and then kind of move my attention to the others and speak to them as I'm answering them. The other thing I like to do in panels is when you get an opportunity to ask a question, you also want to make sure even if these 3 or 4 are your top priority questions, if you only have time to ask a couple questions, I would try to hit each person in the panel or at least get their input on a question to really include them. So what I tend to do is, number one, you can ask each person a particular question, whatever question would be best for them. Or if you have multiple people in the same function or multiple people who are not in the same function but are working toward a common goal where you want to ask a question related to it, say to them, hey, so-and-so and so-and-so, since you're both, lawyers in this particular area, I'd love to get your perspective. I'd love to get both your perspectives on. Ask a question, include them both, or ask an individual question to each of them. But the inclusion aspect of the panel interview is usually the thing most people don't do effectively, which is one of the easiest ways where you can shine if you do that. Otherwise, you have all of the other tactical storytelling principles, question asking principles, how to interrogate them, and all that good stuff in your library. Lots of luck, brother. Good to see you. Great question. And the question before Saul's, Isa, boot camper, my bread and butter. Actually, I didn't see that. Hang on, let me see if I can get this one. Oh, there it is. I did see it. Boot camper Isa, my bread and butter doesn't match my passion. Trying to change companies, same title, but now as a production manager, my new passion. 20 years of experience as a processor. Okay, so this is what I would say with that limited information. Obviously, we could do hosts more if I'm talking with you directly and we're able to go through all the iterations that you need to think about what transferable skills you have as a processor versus a production manager. But my strongest recommendation is if you don't have the skill sets that are your passion, then I'm more assuming you're going to stay in the same space and you do have assets that somebody's going to find attractive. One of my big criterias would be, are there opportunities for me to grow my production management skill sets when I take a job with your company? That's my strongest recommendation for multiple reasons. Number one, it's going to be the fastest way to get into a good company is leaning on something that you already know. It's not like you're making a whole left turn. The second thing is we are heading into what will be a very rocky road as far as employment is concerned. And the last thing that you want is to be in a new position where you're learning a lot of things and you're not an ace at them, and there's any kind of volatility in your sector or in your company. And so I would be thinking multiple steps, not a singular step. So think about, can I get into an organization where I can leverage my processing skills, but that I also will have opportunities to learn production management skills? I strongly would recommend that. I really would. Unless you know people that are at organizations that are open to giving you a chance and you feel like you could make that switch. Otherwise for you, Isa, I would look at the Career Changer module in the boot camp, which I know you have access to, as well as there is a supplemental video in module 1 of the boot camp that is about getting yourself directed and in motion. That also applies to the change you're trying to make. So I would check both of those out as well. All right, great question. Tough stuff. You guys didn't give me any softballs out of the gate. Fan of Andy. How do you determine if someone is the right fit for a role or position? Fan of Andy, can you clarify for me? Are you talking about in a hiring capacity? How do I determine if someone is the right fit for a role? Or are you saying, how do I determine if the role is right for me? I don't even want to answer that because those are two totally different answers. So if you could clarify for me, Carol, slack it to me, and I will be happy to answer that question. Maureen, what's up? Rita, how do? Frank, Jay, Nico, Saul. Thomas, what's up, buddy? Good looking picture right there. And Aylin, look, all these boot campers right there. Great to see you. And Kurt and Larry from Jersey. And L. There's a lot of boot campers in the house. Roman, Richard, Padilla, you are the best. Actually, you're the best for saying it. I appreciate that. Alex, how are you? Looking forward to getting together. Who's tracking is right. Let's get cracking. Oh, you guys are great. Susan, Jennifer, Barry from Cheesecake Capital. Mr. Epic Guy, how are you? Andrew, I got laid off by Nordstrom Canada. How can I sue them? I'm not sure if you are being serious or funny, but I would not try to sue an employer for getting laid off. I don't know all the Canadian employment laws, but if they're anything similar to like how the U.S. runs, you're probably at will. I'm assuming Nordstrom is at will. I'm familiar with the store, unless you were surgically fired for some reason that was discriminatory or something that was illegal. I would not sue them. If it is something egregious, then I would get an employment lawyer to help me and advise me. All right, going back to Fan of Andy. So you did say it the way you wanted to. How do you determine if someone is right for the position or the role? Okay. Fan of Andy, you are going to be happy to know that in the not so distant future, we are going to be doing a whole hiring session, and it will be fantastic for you as a hirer, but it will also be, I think, very eye-opening for anybody who's job searching or seeking. So this is a 20-step process to determine if someone is the right fit for the role, and it doesn't start with the interview. So first thing, I'm going to try to really condense this because this is a 5-hour answer in and of itself. So when you are a hirer or you work for an organization, you do not write a job description and then go and try to find somebody who matches the skill sets. The first thing that you do is you look at your cultural components. You look at all the cultural traits and you identify them, you define them, and then what you do is you make sure that you understand the traits that somebody will have innately that will match your culture. That's criteria number one. The second criteria is capabilities. Capabilities is demonstrated capacity to perform a function without having previously performed it. And capabilities are foundational skill sets that transcend the specificity of what I'm asking the person to do. Let me give you an example. What some companies do is they say, I'm looking for an engineer who can do this, and write in this code and do that and understands that hardware and blah, 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 blah. Instead of what are the common qualities and traits and foundational skills of our best engineers and reverse engineer out of the human being the traits that they have and look for the foundational capabilities that will make a great engineer a great engineer. Extracting those and making the cultural components and the capabilities components the lion's share of the investigation that you're going to do in an interview with a person is going to put you on the path to success because it's the easiest way to actually predict the future of how somebody will operate. Because if they have the cultural fit and the capabilities that transcend the specificity of the position, they're going to be able to do that position effectively and grow a lot faster than somebody who has the hard skills only and knows how to do that particular function, which is what a lot of companies do, which is really bad and makes me want to vomit. Okay, then what you do is you add another layer of the actual hard skills, and you look at what those are as just a kind of a menu, a list of items of something that you want to know if they have. And then the fourth element, actually it's really the third element, is their track record of achievement. So does somebody culturally align? Do they have the capabilities? Do they have the track record of achievement? Meaning, have they demonstrated do they have a history of stellar moves, maneuvers, and all that other stuff, and then the skill set. So that's what I look at. Then it becomes an evaluation process. When I'm interviewing them, am I interviewing for these things in this sequence to know? And the reason you want to interview in this sequence and not the inverse sequence, which is what most companies do, is because I eliminate you. Why is it that people are hired most of the time? They're hired for what they can do. Why are they fired? Because of who they are. So why don't you go the other way around and look at who they are first, what they want, does it match what you want? Are they aligning themselves to the things that historically have shown to be true in your company, of your company's successful employees, and do they match? And so the interviewing process should go in that sequence. Then it becomes a function of the questions you ask. The questions you ask should be more about how they will operate in your environment, because you can evaluate all four of those things I just mentioned simultaneously. Okay? So anyway, that's what you do. So that was a very long-winded way of saying, if you put a great plan together to know what to investigate, you can be an absolute moron in the interviewing process and still get asked the right questions and still figure out what it is that you need. So that to me is how I would look at that. I really would. You are going to get I'm going to unlock my leadership, my leadership vault, and I'm going to give you the lesson on hiring, just so you guys understand this, so that when you are interviewing, if you're interviewing as a job seeker, you'll actually understand what it is that they should be doing and whether you're interviewing with somebody who's taking you through a good hiring process. That's a great question. I hope you enjoyed that one. And if you want more, you can get the book that's behind the interview intervention book, which is the Hiring Prophecies. All right. What else we got here? Let's see. Brian McNeil, what's up? Hi, everyone. I have a one-way interview coming up, and I have never done one of these. Any tip on what to expect? Brian McNeil, I would strongly recommend watching my video on the YouTube channel. I also probably have it in, I probably did this just as an extra one because I wanted you to have access to it. But I did an interview with HireVue CEO Kevin Parker. It's on my YouTube channel. Anybody who wants to grab that can grab it. These one-way interviews, they call them on-demand interviews. I did an hour-long interview with him. He breaks it down for you on how to score well, what it's all about. I would strongly recommend doing that. The most important thing for you is treat it like you're talking to somebody. I wouldn't be overly worried about anything else other than good storytelling principles and all that other stuff. I also have a couple short videos on the YouTube channel, and I have more for you inside the Interview Intervention 10th Anniversary Edition. Pamela Moore, I'm giving you good energy today. Rita, they are called, yes, on-demand interviews where you are the only one speaking to the computer, basically. All right. Rob Brown, great meeting you the other day. Isa, how do I know if a company is good? All the websites love their employees and say they are the best. I'm working on my list. Isa, quickly go to the boot camp. Go to the section where I talk about evaluating an employer's cultural traits. The other thing is questions to be asking yourself before you take a job. Those are both in your product. And the other thing that you need to do is Module 1 in the boot camp, the criteria matrix. every time you want to list out your criteria. Every time you ask a question, you're asking two questions. Is it a good company, and is this a good company for me? If your criteria matrix is in order and you are able to ask the questions to see if the company aligns to you culturally and the things you need. And secondly, in that matrix are also elements that determine if it's a good company in general. It's evaluating them and asking the questions. It goes to the information. I would not be paying a ton of attention other than to get an idea and a feel for what the employees, how they feel about the organization or how the company presents itself, how they present themselves to the outside world. It is important, but it's not the be-all, end-all. I would place much more weight on your ability to ask the questions and get the information and make a determination for yourself. Most of the time, the error is on the job seeker's part by not asking the question at all, or not asking the question and following up and drilling down deep enough to get the information they need. I've given you all of that in the program. I would really revisit it. I know it's probably been a while since you've been in it, but you have the assets you need. Job pirate, continuing from last time, told company A, company B scheduled an interview, got rejected by company B. When would I tell company A they no longer have to worry? Immediately. You are a boot camper. Awesome. So I probably wouldn't say anything. I would probably keep going with company A. And if company A said, is company B still alive? It's up to you if you want to share that they are no longer alive. If you want to just be straight with them, that's fine. If you want to let it dangle, I don't have a problem with that. Just don't bring it up. And it depends on how aggressively they are investigating you. Do you still have anything rolling? Is there anything else? Do we need to accelerate something, decelerate something, or any of that? I leave that to your discretion to handle it in a manner that best suits you. That's what I would do. All right, Kara, I just want to make sure you and I are in order. Okay. Julie, target company is rewriting job description. Oh, that sounds nice. What is the best way to show my value by helping them identify needs and position myself as the best candidate? Okay, I'm going to make some assumptions here that they are rewriting the job description either because that they have discussion with you and you've opened their eyes to what that job really ought to look like, or they are rewriting it to tailor it to take advantage of your skill sets. Either which way, you want to talk about the greatest value that this particular role will contribute is work from the value backwards. The job description is no more than the activities that role will handle in order to achieve the value that they want to create. So if I say to myself, for example, I would really like somebody to handle my marketing. Okay, I need value-wise, I need them to increase the number of leads that I'm able to create with my community. Leads come in different forms. They come in, right? They come from people watching YouTube videos, TikTok videos. They sign up for my subscription list. They subscribe to my YouTube channel. And there's different metrics that I could use to know whether we're on the right track. But the value they're creating is more prospects for me. Then the value I need to create as the business owner is to sell and all that other sell and all that other stuff, right? Okay, it's not the marketer's job, but what activities is the marketer going to do? Now, there's about 20 activities that the marketer could do. Then it just becomes a matter of, okay, Julie, you're equipped to be able to do this, this, and this, but not this. All right, we're going to take that off the table because we don't really, while it would have been nice, we don't really need you to do that if you're not skilled or it's something you could pick up over time. And then here's the priority of the functions. So, meaning, well, there's 10 things I'm going to do, except this one is going to be done first with the focus first because this one is going to make all the other ones easier to do. So there's a sequence in which you're going to do what you're going to do. If there's multiple things you're handling simultaneously, that's fine. But usually not everything needs to be done all at once, meaning I don't need to handle everything I need to handle to the extent I need to handle it, meaning evenly across my role. So you need to go into counselor mode of, the greatest value you'll be able to get out of somebody in this position. If you are rewriting that job description, there is an intersection between the maximum value and then how much of the maximum value somebody like you can attain. There might be maximum value, like if you could do all these things from a marketing perspective, that would give me maximum value, but you can only do 8 of the 10. I'm only going to get 80%, or maybe the 8 of the 10 are going to get me 95% of the value, right? And I'm still going to have a little bit of a gap. I'm okay with that. That's life, right? We don't always get everything we want in a person, in an employee, and in a company. So I would be focusing on what the greatest value that you can attain is, the things we need to do in order to attain it is, right? The things we would do first are, and sequencing that. That's what I would do. All right. Yeah, reminder, bottom of the hour. So productivity mini camp 2023, mini camp, not productivity challenge 5 full sessions. It's 3 20-minute videos, give or take, plus a 38-minute video on Thursday, plus a Q&A recap show with me. So you got 5 pieces to this starting next week. If you have not registered, please register so we can deliver you the daily planning tool and the other stuff. And if you're enjoying this, please click the share button, send it off in LinkedIn land and wherever else, Facebook land, and subscribe to the station. Make sure you're on my email list. All right, let's see. What do we got? Rock step 44, what's up? After 20 years of building my business, colleagues made catastrophic mistakes. Past 5 years spent desperately trying to stave my tailspinning business ending in bankruptcy. Now I am back on the job market. Interviewers try to focus on my most recent experience. How do I tactfully dodge those probing questions about my disastrous recent past and redirect their interest to my many earlier successes? Why would you want to do that? So the question isn't, why do I want, I don't want you to look over here, I want you to look over here. Why not be proud of the 20 years of building your business and all of the things that you accomplished? The fact that your business lasted 20 years is epic, okay? That's awesome. The fact that you want to sunset it or that it went under it happens every day, all year long, 365 days of every year. Businesses go out of business, investments fail, all that kind of stuff occurs, right? I would be talking about the lessons and the value that you created as a business owner and all the skill sets that you built, and talk about that. If I was interacting with you one-on-one, I would have a host of questions around, are you actually getting interviews where they are greatly focusing on that? I find it hard to believe that would be the focal point of your interview. I might ask you, I see you were working on this business, or you were on this business for 20 years and it no longer is operating. I would just say it was time to close it up and whatever, right? And it ran its course, or, that would, to me, you're only answering, why are you looking? And then all the things that you did for your business, those are positive stories. Businesses, they have problems every day that they try to solve. Sometimes they solve them quickly, sometimes they don't solve them at all, and sometimes they solve them over a great period of time. You say interviewers are trying to focus on my most recent experience. If you were working for 20 years as a business owner, that's all I would care about. So I wouldn't go back either. I wouldn't be thinking about tactically dodging it. I would be getting on offense and thinking about, what are the valuable stories that I have that were successes. You did not last 20 years because you weren't successful. I would not be looking at the final outcome or what happened in your most recent transition here where you went into bankruptcy. I would be looking at the 20 years. Okay, 80% of businesses fail in 12 months. Of the 80% of the 20% that make it, 50% of the 20% fail in year 2. There's this many percentages of businesses that last 5 years. You lasted 4 times that. I think you need to, be proud of that. Or that is a way to interpret it, at least. So I hope that helps. Aylin, what's up? Where you been? I was thinking about you the other day. Wondering where Aylin's been. You are welcome, Jennifer. Lisa Day, what's up? Sridharan, how you doing? I'm going through final interviews. Awesome. I believe you are a boot camper, even though it doesn't say that there. Going through final interviews for a senior leadership position. Is it a good idea to contact the person who was doing the role previously and has left the company? No. Final answer. Do not call that person. It's going to, number one, I always look at cost-benefit analysis, cost-benefit assessment. I would not be calling the person who was there previously and figuring out what they liked or didn't like. That person might not have gotten along with the boss. The person might have just gotten another job, and now what's going to happen? They're going to give you information that's going to fill your head, that's going to do nothing but pollute it. I would be focused on everything I could do to identify what I need, ask the right questions, keep digging until I get all the information, and I want to be the one to assess it. I would not. It's one thing if you know the person, like actually know them, but I would not. I want you to do whatever makes you feel best, but I think this will cause more harm than good. Some of you might be thinking, well, Andy, isn't that shorting the researching process you could be doing? I'd say I think that aspect of researching will pollute your ability to make a good decision, and an impartial one. Rebecca, I'm in a recruitment process, but there have been layoffs after the screening interview, hence my process is on hold. What should I do during this time? Nothing. Nothing with that company. Say, you know what? If you ever get around to hiring again, you look me up. In the meantime, you keep running Andy's job search challenge, and I'm guessing that you know what that is because you're a boot camper, and I would keep, and you know the expression, keep feeding the funnel, make sure you're distributing your resume and you're sending it out via email to actual human beings, not a system, and you just keep going because what? We want more balls in the air because what? That creates opportunities and possibilities for you. And so I would just move on. I wouldn't spend one iota of energy thinking about it. Artie, my boss hunting emails are not opened, 17 out of 25. What could be the possible reasons? So I have no idea. I don't know who you're sending them to or where you're sending them. If you're sending them to the CEO of Disney, as I like to say, they're probably not being opened. It could be an issue with the tool you're using. I know we give you a tool or 2 or 3 in the program. I don't really know why they're not being opened. Could be any one of a number of reasons, but it's impossible for me to tell you exactly why that's the case. You're looking to relocate, so visa sponsorship requirement forces me to apply only to large organizations. That is a probable good direction to go because the propensity of a large company to be able to sponsor the visa is greater. That's just stats talking, but it doesn't mean that's the only way you can go. And there are many divisions in a large company. How can I target the right person? So this is what I tell everybody who's trying to go into a large company. You got to do more research to figure out where you would align. Are there multiple people handling a similar function, each one in a different division? Where does your function actually sit in the organization? So there's some elbow grease involved that you got to put some effort in to figure out. I would be emailing people in the organization, asking them for their help. Can they give you some insight into which group might be a fit for you because you're looking to try to gather more insight to see if the company's a good possibility for you. Get in and get at it. Or you can use the Google Boolean that we teach you inside the boot camp to triangulate titles, positions, locations, and so on. And then the other option is just to get in and start sending the messages and see what kind of hits you get. Amy Cook, how about translating military experience so it shines on your resume? Amy Cook, I absolutely love this, and thank you for your service, whatever country you support. Okay. Career changers and people like military veterans trying to become civilian workers, and anybody who is making a change has an additional layer of complexity in their search. And that layer of complexity is added because why? You have to do more translating than others. Why do you have to do more translating? Well, number one, people are lazy and they're busy. And corporate executives or hiring officials or whoever it is that you're trying to target or interview with is likely not going to connect the dots for you. You're going to need to connect the dots for them. So when you look at somebody in the military, you're going to have an array of skills that are going to be basic, and then you're going to have an array of skills that are going to be specific. And I don't mean basic in a meaning simple. I mean they will transcend. They'll be foundational. You're organized, right? Attention to detail. Maybe it's the attitude, the drive, the follow through, and other traits that really help you drive projects to completion in an organized fashion. And I don't know specifically what your forte is, but generally speaking, anybody going from the military to the civilian workforce has to translate not only those foundational skill sets, but also any specific skill sets. Have you worked in an analytical position? Had you worked in an intelligence position? What is it that you did? Technology, or there might be different things. I'm not knowing what you did in the military. There's going to be some specific skill set that you're trying to translate. And so what you need to do is you need to, number one, always, much like I was talking to Julie about the job description, you are always thinking forward to what is the ultimate value I'm going to contribute? What are the problems that the organizations have that I can help them solve, right? That's all companies do. They solve one problem after another. That's all they do, right? They solve their customers' problems, then they have to solve their own marketing problems, then their own sales problems, then their own delivery problems, then the product creation problems, and all that stuff, right? These are all good challenges. That's why we live. But when you look at translating your skill sets to a civilian, a corporate executive, or whoever it is that's looking at your resume, or a recruiter, you have to translate the foundational skills into how it actually matches the skill sets of the position that you are looking for. And I was dealing with a military vet for a project management position, for example. We had to pull forward a lot of his leadership skills, organizational skills, relationship building skills, and so on. All the things that you would think would make a good project manager a good project manager. If you say, well, I want to be one of these, how do I know what traits there are that would be good? You can go to Google. You can go to Google and literally ask Google. You can go to ChatGPT or Bard, or Google's Bard or whatever, if that thing's up and running yet, and you just search. You can go talk to people who are doing that job. Say, what are the most prized skill sets? And then you want to be bringing that forward into accomplishments that you attained, value you created by demonstrating that you had those capabilities. Right? Organized project, that kind of thing, or created X in value of dollars, cents, increase, decrease, reduction, or whatever it was by doing what? By organizing something. And then all of a sudden that sounds like project management or driving projects. So that's how you have to translate that stuff. And then you carry it into the interviewing process as well. And so there's a number of things that career changers have to do. Military veterans going to the civilian workforce are technically career changers, which means you have to connect the dots more so than, say, a salesperson or an accountant, just going to be another accountant or a salesperson at a different company. So, and it isn't fair, and it isn't, it's unfortunate, but that's the way a lot of these hirers are. That they're just not going to take the effort to make the translation for you. They're going to ask you to do it. So I hope that helps. All right. Aylin, what's up, boot camper? Do you recommend for us to update companies during the interview process, even if they are direct competitors? Since I'm hoping to win, you're going to win. Hope is not a strategy. Would it help or hurt my position for negotiation? So wait, I love this question. I love that you're a boot camper. I love that this is going to apply to just about everybody. So I am about chestnut checkers, right? So I do like to, when I get into the interviewing process, I let the companies know exactly what I'm doing, meaning I'm interviewing with company A right now. Okay, company A, I'm now interviewing with company B as well, and company C. I'm interviewing with your most hated competitor and your second most hated competitor kind of thing, or whatever it is. I have to make no difference. Or I'm just interviewing with somebody else who can take me, right? And that will take me away from you. And so then what I like to do is I like to keep them informed. Don't be obnoxious about it. How you say what you say is just as important as what you say, and when you say what you say is just as important as what you say. So, I wouldn't be, okay, I had an interview today, it was a 20-minute screen, I just want to send you an email and let you know. No, it's like, you can keep them updated in the natural progression of your recruitment process. If you say to company A, hey, okay, this is great, you're the only one I'm interviewing with. Hey, okay, company B, by the way, I'm interviewing with company A. Going back to company A to let them know you now started with company B. I don't know. Are you going to talk to the recruiter? Do you expect the recruiter to get back to you? Is the hiring official supposed to contact you about the next interview? When that occurs, you say, by the way, I want to let you know, I'm also this came up since the last time I was in or talked to you or whatever. I just want to let you know I'm in the early stages with them, but I just, I feel it's appropriate to communicate where I am so you're aware. Just like I would want you to let me know what the candidate pipeline looks like, right? All that good stuff. So you're earning a reputation as a communicator. And the reason you want to do this is multiple fold, because when you get down to the end, you're never going to get all your offers on the same day. And let's just assume you're going to get multiple offers, because you are, right? So you're going to get multiple offers. One's going to come in and then they're going to say, Alan, can you get back to us by tomorrow? And you're going to say, Andy, I can't do that. Remember I told you I was interviewing with these other companies. Can I let me check with them to see what the timing is. Let me get back to you. You go back to them. You say, hey, I'm about to get an offer. I just want to let you know. I'd like to let the company who's given me the offer, I'd like to let them know that I need a reasonable amount of time to consider it because I really like you. Then what you say to company B, C, D, and E or whatever is going to be dependent on where they are in the pecking order. Is company B your favorite? You're really my favorite. And I don't want to take this because I want to finish out with you. I just want to know, is there anything we can do to expedite this process? Or at least can you let me know what the next step is or by when that's going to happen? Because I'd at least like to get back to them. You'd want me to do the same thing for you if you were in first, right? Or if you were giving me the offer first, kind of thing. So you're constantly, juggling this because you're going to need to request more time. The other reason you want to do it, among many, is so that when you go back to company A, you say, remember I mentioned I was interviewing with B, C, D, and E? Tell you what. I really love you, and I want to make this work. You've offered me this. Alan, you have all the things to do from the time you get the offer to the time you counteroffer, but you're going to zip through this just for purposes of illustration here in the community. You're going to say, okay, here's my counter, and if you give me this, I'll drop B, C, D, and E, and I will go to my employer, and I will resign, and here is my start date, right? And what happens when you do that is even if they don't want to go all the way to what you asked, employers are tempted to combine the additional compensation they're willing to give you because they value you more than their initial offer. And the second thing they pay for, they add in, is the element of risk. I'm buying down risk because if I don't give her that extra $5,000, I have her word for the extra $5,000. I don't have her word for 5 less, even though I'd rather go give her only 10, not the 15, let's say she asked for. But I'm going to throw it all in because I don't want B, C, and D I want her because it's going to be more painful for me to lose her and take somebody I don't like, or if I don't have anybody else in the pipeline, or more time and more days that somebody's not here doing what they're supposed to be doing because the others that we have in the pipeline are further behind her. Kind of thing. There's a whole host of stuff, but what they do is they tend to inch up a little bit more to pay off the risk. So there's a host of stuff that goes into all this, of which that's some. And so, yes, I recommend that you do. I recommend that you not be obnoxious about it. I recommend that you use your head and you do what's natural in the course of the recruitment process without being overly obnoxious. Now, if you're getting close and I say to you, hey, I'm giving you an offer today, Thursday, and I'm going to need to know by Monday. You're going to get back to them and you're going to say, look, they only are giving me to Monday. I'm going to see if I can get an extension. Can you tell me, Like, can we do anything Friday? Or like you're doing this, right? Kind of thing. You got this. All this stuff is in the program for you, and I lay it all out, and I lay out what to say based on who you like better and all that other stuff. So that's a great question. How we doing, Kara? You're kind of quiet. Everything looking good? Are you guys enjoying this? If you are, do me a favor, click that little like button. I'm not above begging for the likes. I mean, because I define my entire worth based on how many likes I get. Actually, that's not entirely true, but more likes are better than less likes. It's kind of like your salary that way, right? More is always better. Okay. All right. Maybe that wasn't a great joke. I don't know. I can never tell if you're laughing or not. All right, Brian McNeil. Forgot the question above. Oh, wait. I think I got that one already. And Fan of Andy, that was the clarification. Oh, see, every time I should show you guys what I see when you click the like buttons like that, and then all of a sudden my little dashboard goes with all these thumbs, and they all go crazy, and then there's all these boop, 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 boop. It really makes that sound, except they have the sound turned off. All right, let's see. Randy Cole, what's up? Shamoon, how you doing, buddy? Amy C. How to improve success rate of LinkedIn connection requests. I love this. And those of you who are not connected with me on LinkedIn, first degree, I love to be connected with you first degree because it's wonderful if you're following me. But that means you're following me, and I don't know that you're following me, and I'm not following you back, and I want to follow you back. So I want to be connected so that I could see you in my feed, number one. I could see the issues you're facing. I could cheer you on, or I can do the clappy thing when you get your victory, and so I can celebrate with you. The other thing is I have a huge network, and so I love to be connected. So if you go to my LinkedIn profile, maybe if Kara is not snoozing, she could pop it in the chat and go to my profile, and instead of clicking the follow button, which I think it's set up to do, I think there's like 3 little dots right in the circle. You click that, it drops down, hit connect, say, Andy, I was 11:52. You were going all on in your live office hours about how we should be connected. I love it. I'll accept it. And that'll be all of you. 100% acceptance rate from me if you tell me that. All right. Now, Amy C., how to improve the success rate of LinkedIn connection requests. You should have 100%. You should have a 100% rate of success because you should not be sending LinkedIn connection requests cold. Okay? You shouldn't. I'm inviting you to connect with me. This is my business. I value it. And I know a lot of other people are open networkers and they value it too. And as long as you are nice and polite and professional, I'm happy to be connected with you. But I would not be cold connecting. So what I do is, you said you tried to reach out to a few people rather than submitting through the ATS. 1 in 10 accepted. I would not have accepted that if I was them. I would rather you do one of 2 things. One, you direct email them. If you're not sure how to get their email address, there are some sites that we share with the community like hunter.io, where you can look up corporate formats of the email address. That will give you step 1. And then I use verifyemailaddress.org to speculate as to what their email address is, and verifyemailaddress.org will actually show you. It'll give you kind of a green check or a red X. Okay, and so you could try that and then send them a direct email. That would be option 1. Option 2 would be to send them a LinkedIn message. And I understand that there might be, you need to be, I think you need to be a member of like some form of a member of LinkedIn or paid member or whatever, but that's another alternative. I would not send connection requests with job seeking messages. I would connect with them via a direct message or an in-mail, I think is what LinkedIn calls it, and then you can attach your resume or whatever, or boss hunt them, and that's okay. I totally support that. I just don't like cold connections and connection requests. And the other thing is you're limited by character count in a connection request. So I accept all connection requests, but I I do not blindly accept them. I look at, even if you do not send me a message, I look at your profile and I say, who's this person? And I'm about to hit connect, and then they're going to sell me something as soon as I do that. Because, we help coaches, blah, blah. We help YouTubers, blah, blah. We help podcasters, blah, blah. We help business owners, blah, blah. I know I don't accept those, because then they're just going to try and sell me something. But if you just say, hey, Andy, I saw one of your videos, I really would love to connect. I'm like, okay, boom, connect. Right? It's just that's just the way I roll. But I'm not surprised by that. So the way to improve your success rate is not to do it, meaning go one of the other routes, the two other routes that I gave you. Nico, what is your take to reach out to a previous hiring manager you interviewed with, but you did not get selected in the last round? Nico, multi-step process. And Nico, I don't know if you're in my job search coaching program, call it the boot camp. For all those of you that are in the boot camp, here's the paid version and the free version. If you're in the job search coaching program, you have an entire booklet on the rejection and resuscitation process for Nico's exact scenario. There is a process, and I literally write the instructions out. I give you the exact templates, and I give you the follow-up templates, and so on. Whether it's following up in 30, 60, or 90 days, or whether it's following up a year later. But basically, there's a message that you want to send when you exit an interviewing process that you did not get, especially as you go down to the late rounds. This is highly effective. If you want the free version of this, which is a much lighter and scaled down version, I have a video on my YouTube channel about how to get the job after being rejected. Basically, you're planting the seed there that you really enjoyed it, you're bummed you didn't get it, you appreciate that they know what's best for their company, and you go out with some language here that sets you up to then follow up later. Then what you do, because you went down to the last round, what I would say then is, if you've done that, great. If you haven't done that, that's fine. Maybe you just found me this morning. Then what you want to do is you want to send a message back to the hiring official or the recruiter or both or whatever, and just say, hey, I really remember, I was really glad to interview you with 6 months ago. I was, bummed that I didn't get the opportunity to work with you. I thought it might be nice to follow up and stay in touch and see if anything has changed on your end, or if there's any additional opportunities to join your team or other areas within your organization. I would love to get reconnected, or something like that. Just package up something that resuscitates the relationship that you built. For all of you, if you are in Nico's position and you do not make it and you are in the late rounds, if 45 days goes by and you have not contacted that company, you're making a mistake, because you cannot believe the number of times they want to hire somebody, the person doesn't take the offer. They want to hire somebody, they hire somebody, the person comes, and after a week they crap out. They hire somebody, the person comes, the person is doing dazzling work for 2 weeks, except that person got another offer from another company that they like more, and they left. Don't automatically assume that the recruiter or the hiring official is going to go back and say, hey, let's get Nico or any of those other folks that were interviewing with us. Okay, don't assume that. So you've got to be proactive. You got to have a tickler in your calendar that says, on this day, Coach Andy said 45 days. That's a month and a half later. That gives them a chance to finish out their process, the person to resign. Right? I like 2 weeks because everybody on TikTok yells at me because they think you should just walk out the door. But let's say you're all classy professionals, right? 2 weeks, then they get in, right? Like, all that has to occur so that the person doesn't start right away. It's weeks out, and then they got to get in there, and then they got to get acclimated, and then all of a sudden the boss goes, oh my God, we should have hired Nico. Who's tracking, right? Who's tracking? Nico, that's what I would do. Let's see. Maureen is telling us that she added something. How do I prepare for interview when the job description has basic info, no details? Great app with Chamber of Commerce. Interview tomorrow with 3 people. Maureen, because I'm running tight on time, I want to let you know, inside your job search coaching program, there is a video in the interviewing section about breaking down the job description. There's also one in the interview intervention 10th anniversary edition. I tell you exactly how to break it down. Even if there's not a ton of information in there, there's ways to draw parallels. I would check that video out. All right, folks, productivity mini camp starts Monday. I'm back. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're going to get emails actually, you're going to get an email tomorrow because I got another new video coming out tomorrow on stuff, and it's really going to be fun. And then on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, productivity mini camp. On Thursday, my habits and systems to be more productive at 11, and then at 11:40, I will be doing this with you on productivity stuff. And I'm really looking forward to next week. Really want to help you kind of take the stress out, take the overwhelm out, get organized, run a great day, run a great life, right? Who's tracking? All right, love y'all. If we're not connected on LinkedIn, please do connect with me. Everybody have a great weekend. I'll see you in your inbox. Actually, I'll see you in your inbox tomorrow. All right, you guys be good. See you soon.